Hi guys, Angie talking to you about my personal experience with gastric sleeve procedure. I had my gastric sleeve done September 9th, 2016. I lost, as of today, December 28th, 42 pounds. I did start my weight loss journey a few months before that. On May 15th, 2016, I lost 41 pounds on my own, bringing my total weight loss stat to a loss of 83 pounds as of today. It's the same number as last week. My body seems to lose about 3 to 5 pounds a week and then take the week off and stay the same. Whatever. So far, that's what has seemed to be the trend for me personally. So today what I want to talk about is alcohol and your consumption of alcohol and weight loss. Whether you have the sleeve or the lap band or bypass, alcohol is going to affect your body differently now. So if you are a big alcohol drinker and you haven't had this procedure, that's something for you to consider. That is going to be different after surgery. Now, my doctor suggested waiting about a month post-op before having a drink. I might have had a drink a little bit sooner than that, but shh, don't tell them. Okay, so prior to surgery, I was never considered to be a power drinker or a heavy consumption of alcohol. I usually would, go out with my friends once or twice a month, have a few adult beverages, and have a good time. So I definitely do not consume alcohol daily or even weekly. So this is not a huge big deal for me. Another thing to consider is the carbonation in beer. My doctor has advised no carbonation, and I haven't tested that theory. I'm not a big soda drinker, and I'm not a big beer drinker, so you might want to think about that as well. So me personally, since I've been sleeved, or before I was sleeved, I would probably drink maybe once or twice a month, maybe 4 or 5 drinks at, a social event or whatever. And be tipsy, not falling down drunk or blackout drunk or anything like that. Just, good time with your friends. Since I've had surgery, I definitely have noticed that the times I've gone out and drank, I think we went out a couple of weeks ago, my husband and I and some friends, and it was a pub crawl for charity. For charity, I was drinking for charity. It was called the 12 Bars of Christmas, and we went to 12 different bars. And at the end of that night, I was intoxicated for sure. I probably had maybe 6 drinks and like 2 shots. My drink of choice is vodka and Red Bull, so I have the alcohol and the caffeine mixed in there. So that's probably the most I've drank since surgery. That was probably the most I've drank in like 5 years. So at the end of that night, we definitely took an Uber, and it was a fun night. I did not throw up the next day, thank goodness. I did run the next day, sweat the alcohol out, but I definitely was more intoxicated than I would have been pre-surgery. So that's something definitely to consider. For me, on a regular night out with my girlfriends, usually like 2 vodka and Red Bulls is pretty much good. I feel happy and bubbly and tipsy, but not drunk, and that's where it is, where pre-surgery was probably, I could probably drink 4 to 5 and achieve the same feeling. So definitely with a smaller stomach and more of a straight shot to my intestines and bloodstream, I can definitely feel a difference. The other difference for me is my drink of choice, the caffeine in the Red Bull, because I don't consume soda and I drink decaffeinated coffee. The alcohol, which makes you feel good, coupled with the caffeine, really makes me. So that's something to consider too. Is not only how much you consume, or is what you're consuming. The other thing to consider is alcohol and Red Bull too high in calories. Like, is it worth it? You have to think about the amount of calories that you are easily consuming with adult beverages. So that is all things to consider. I thought this was a timely, a good time to do this video because New Year's is coming up. So of course we'll be drinking on New Year's. Oh, and the other thing to consider is straws. My doctor said not to use straws, so that's always something I always have to remember when they give you your drink. It has a straw in it, so not to use the straw. I guess it's because of the air bubbles, I was told. I have watched other videos and talked to other sleevers who at some point do end up using straws. I have not yet. I don't really miss it, but whatever. Maybe at some point in the future I'll give it a go. I am less worried about the straw usage than the carbonation usage. So I think it'll be a long time before I attempt any carbonation because, I mean, there's really no need for it. I don't need to be having the extra calories from soda or beer. So, you know, I'm not really worried about it. But I just want to remind everyone, if you're thinking about getting this procedure done or any weight loss procedure done, that alcohol is definitely going to affect you differently with weight loss surgery. And that is it. That's all I really wanted to talk about was alcohol and to be careful and always, you know, be responsible, don't drive, all that disclaimer stuff. But just be mindful. I've heard a lot of people, I've seen a lot of videos where after surgery people abuse alcohol, and I can see how that could happen. You know, most people, not all, I'm not going to lump everyone, but most people in my position of needing weight loss surgery, we have some mental issues with addiction to food. So I really feel like it's easy to redirect your addiction from food to alcohol. I can see how that could happen. That has not happened in my case, thankfully. I can drink once a month, or I could drink once every 6 months, and I, you know, whatever. I'm more of a social drinker, so if I go out with my girlfriends or my husband, you know, I like to have a drink because everybody else is and having a good time. As far as addiction, I will admit, this is a big admission. I will admit, since being sleeved, I smoke cigarettes. I started smoking when I was very young, when I was probably about 16 or 17. Pretty regularly at that time. I smoked up until I was about 21, probably a pack a day. And then when I was 21, I got married, and my husband asked me to stop smoking because we wanted to try to have a baby, and I did. And for many years, like 20 years, I would maybe smoke once every 6 months. If, you know, went out with my girlfriend and we were at a bar, I would pick up a cigarette here or there and smoke 1 or 2 or 3, and then not smoke again for 6 months or 4 months or whatever, just completely social. When I got sleeved, actually it wasn't when I got sleeved, it was in May when I started really restricting my calories to 300 to 500 calories a day. I increased, subconsciously, I didn't do it on purpose, but I started smoking more. I started smoking every single day, you know, 4 or 5 cigarettes outside, and it gradually increased, and right now I'm back up to a pack a day. I do feel like that has replaced food. Like if I feel mentally hungry, I'll go outside and have a cigarette. So for me, that addiction to food has been shifted to smoking. My family is not thrilled with this fact. I'm not thrilled with this fact. When I'm running every day, I shouldn't be smoking. It's not good for my body. You know, I'm trying to do all these healthy things, and yet I'm smoking cigarettes. So that is cuckoo. But, you know, us weight loss patients aren't known to be the sanest group of people. Okay, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. But if you can identify, then maybe I'm talking about you. So, yeah, I have considered going to an addiction type support group, you know, kind of an all-encompassing, whatever your addiction is or compulsive behavior is. because I do feel like I need at some point to get some help for smoking. I feel like when I make the decision to quit, it would be an easy transition. I don't feel like, you know how some people can't even sit through a movie without having a cigarette? I'm not one of those people. I could go all day long without smoking. It's mainly when I feel hungry and I feel that I just want to eat, that I find myself saying, okay, no, we're not going to do that, but let's go smoke. So I definitely feel like my addiction to food has morphed and shifted into an addiction to smoking. So I have committed to my husband when I reach my goal weight that I will then tackle smoking. So again, I don't feel like it's going to be hard for me to quit, because I don't feel like I'm addicted to the nicotine. I feel like I'm addicted to the act, and that act has replaced mindless eating, if that makes any sense. So I could see how drinking could be that for someone else. So that's the other point of this video, is when you do have weight loss surgery, be mindful of where your addictions are and what you're doing in place of that food addiction. That food addiction is a very real thing, and if you think that it's not, then you probably don't need this surgery because you're skinny. Those big girls, we got problems with addiction, and I'm just saying, we're just keeping it real around here. Yeah, so be mindful of what you shift your food addiction to. You know, I've heard people, like, so many people end up getting divorced and become like sex addicts and, you know, all kinds of crazy things. And it's because our mind is addicted. We're addicted to food. And if you're not satisfying that addiction and that craving, and that obsession, in that way, as humans, we're searching for somewhere to place that addiction and that obsession. So, you know, I mean, that could even be with over exercising. You know, I find myself sometimes when I'm super stressed, exercising more than I really need to in a day, just because I you know, I have this anxiety about whatever I'm thinking about, and it comes out in that way. So always be mindful, especially if you're at the start of this journey or you're thinking about having weight loss surgery. Really think about it. I know a lot of you have to do a mandatory 6 months with a psychiatrist and losing weight to get it approved with insurance. Some of you are like myself, where I was self-pay. Some people go to Mexico and have the procedure, so you don't have to wait that 6 months either. That is the one downfall to not having that requirement, is I didn't have to do the whole psych eval. They just said, you got the money? Great, here's your date. Which was nice for me. But I can see where going to the psychiatrist or going to a healthcare professional to talk about these things is helpful and valuable. So, you know, I've considered talking to someone, or like I said, going to a support group for addiction. Because in these journeys, you know, it's partly why I do these videos. In this weight loss journey, it's nice to know you're not alone, and you're not alone in these struggles, and they're real struggles, and they're valid. Like, these feelings that I'm feeling are valid feelings. So yeah, alcohol and abusing different things because you're misplacing or redirecting your food addiction, all things to be mindful and aware of when you have a weight loss procedure. I guess when you, anywhere in life, it's always good to be mindful of that, but particularly when you have weight loss, a weight loss procedure, all of those things kind of intensify. Okay, so I'm going to stand up even though my numbers are the same as last week. So I'm down a total of 83 pounds, and I'll show you what I look like. So again, same as last week, pretty much. What I look like. Got kind of a big shirt. I'm gonna go running in a little while. But yeah, my belly, my arms, my back, my booty. Yeah, so that's it. And have a great New Year's. Be safe, be responsible, and make smart food choices. Have a great week.